The social services for older people are a key, important way that we protect people's quality of lives. They're provided for the most vulnerable people in Wales, and we're very concerned at the moment that local authorities are cutting back on provision, on the number of hours they provide for services and the number of care homes and things available to people. This could have a really detrimental impact on people who need to be moved from care home or whose finances, whose care services are limited in some way. We're seeing some cuts to eligibility criteria from local authorities and some concerns that people are having their hours of care reduced. We're also seeing problems with care homes, many of which seem to be under threat of closure, both in the private sector and ones run by local authorities. We can see that with Southern Cross and some of the issues around those services. We can also see it with local authorities closing care homes. So we're quite concerned at the moment about local authority provided social care.
The way that the Westminster government is cutting public services risks the future of this country, and it's going to impact in some quite disastrous ways on young people. I'm not talking about facts and figures and percentages, I'm talking about people and their lives. Take higher education in England, cutting out of what should be a state-funded service, forcing the cost onto graduates and their families. Or take young people looking for jobs, but with no platform on which to stand and no jobs fund to actually give them a chance. This combined with an entire welfare agenda that would leave the most vulnerable in our society on their own. I support an alternative. I support a coalition against these cuts.
We also provided concern about some of the welfare benefit changes, changes to things like disability living allowance, where we're aware that people are already being reassessed when their needs actually haven't changed, and we're concerned that the reason behind that is sort of budgetary, to try and make cuts in provision. We're also concerned about some of the changes around housing benefit, which have a potential impact on young people as well. And many people call us concerned about attendance allowance, where at the moment no changes are concrete, but there's a big expectation that some of those changes that have been done in disability living allowance will also be reflected by attendance allowance. And benefits like those provide a real lifeline to other people to help them cope with the costs of disability. Finally, we've been campaigning about changes to state pension age entitlement. We're not opposed to increase in the state pension age. As people live longer, we think it's fair that we respond and extend working lives, and many older people want to extend their working life. We are very concerned about the current government's acceleration of those increases, which have a particularly bad effect on a group of women born between 1953 and 1954. Some of those women will see their state pension age increased by up to between 18 months and 2 years, with only 5 or 6 years notice, and we think that's completely unfair in terms of their legitimate expectations for when they'd be provided with a state pension.